Sake is one of the best drinks to enjoy with food, not only with Japanese cuisine, but with many different kinds of meals, even Western food. And there's another reason why sake is special. Compared to wine, sake often offers incredible quality, at a very reasonable price. Still, for many people outside Japan, sake can feel confusing. There are so many bottles, unfamiliar words on the label, and it's hard to know where to start.
In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn a simple, practical way to choose sake, especially if you're new to it. This video is not about studying sake. You don't need any prior knowledge, and you don't need to remember technical terms. This video is a simple map to the world of sake, helping you find your way, without overthinking it. Let's start with the simplest and safest place on the map.
At its core, sake is made from just 3 ingredients: rice, water, and koji. That's it. At the same time, there are many different choices when it comes to how sake is made. Brewers adjust ingredients and techniques to create different styles. Junmai is the style of sake that expresses this idea most directly. It refers to sake made only from rice, water, and koji. Because of that, Junmai is often the most straightforward place to start. It's easier to understand, and it gives you a clear sense of what sake tastes like, before moving on to more specific styles.
Once you understand this foundation, the next difference comes from how much the rice is polished. This leads to another set of words you'll often see: Junmai, Ginjo, and Daiginjo. The difference is simple. It's about how much the rice is polished before brewing. The more the rice is polished, the more delicate and refined the sake tends to become, and usually, the more expensive it gets. More polished doesn't always mean better. It just means different. Many people actually prefer the fuller, more rice-forward character you often find in Junmai. So now that we have the basics, let's talk about how these different styles actually taste.
For many people outside Japan, the image of sake has been fairly consistent. Strong, dry, something you sip on its own, rather than drink with a full meal. Sake has often been seen as a drink for experienced drinkers, something sharp, powerful, and a bit intimidating. If that's the image you have, you're not wrong. For a long time, that style was one of the main ways sake was made and understood. But today, the picture has become much broader.
For a long time, one particular style of sake was especially prominent. Dry and crisp, and relatively high in alcohol, often around 15 or 16%. It was easy to understand, and easy to export as a clear identity. But that also meant this one style came to represent sake as a whole, especially outside Japan. What was really just one trend became the default image of sake.
Over time, that picture began to change. Brewers started exploring a wider range of expressions, more umami, gentler sweetness, and a more mellow character. Alcohol levels also began to shift. Alongside traditional styles, you'll now find many sakezu closer to 12 or 13%, much more in line with wine. The result is not a single new trend, but more choice. Today, sake can be light or rich, dry or gently sweet, powerful or remarkably easy to drink. When you're starting out, you don't need to remember categories or technical terms. It helps to think in just 2 simple directions. First, sweetness, from dry to gently sweet. Some sakezu are very dry and crisp. Others have a gentle sweetness and a more mellow character. Second, alcohol level. Some sakezu are bold and powerful, while others are softer and easier to drink. If you're familiar with wine, this is similar to thinking about body and sweetness. These 2 ideas alone will help you navigate a wide range of sake.
At this point, you have a simple map to start exploring sake. Using just 2 ideas, sweetness and alcohol level, you can begin to notice what you like and what you don't. From here, there's nothing you need to know right away. If you're curious, this is where sake starts to get more interesting. One of the unique things about sake is how much it changes with temperature. The same sake can taste very different when it's chilled, at room temperature, or gently warmed. Some sakezu become brighter and crisper when cold. Others become softer and more expressive when warm. Unlike wine, sake is designed to be enjoyed across a wide range of temperatures. You'll also come across a wide range of other styles. Some are sparkling, others are fresher, more vibrant, or made with different approaches. You don't need to understand all of them. But one style is especially easy to enjoy, especially if you're coming from wine. Sparkling sake offers freshness and lift, much like sparkling wine. It's often lower in alcohol, easy to drink, and a great way to explore sake without overthinking it.
Earlier, we talked about how sake is often seen as something strong, something you sip on its own. But in Japan, sake has always been a drink for the table. And here's the surprising part. Sake can pair beautifully not only with Japanese cuisine, but with roast chicken, creamy pasta, and even dishes that can be challenging for certain wines. Like spicy food, raw oysters, or strongly seasoned dishes. How is that possible? The answer lies in how sake is built. So why does sake work so well at the table? It begins with rice. Rice is one of the most universal foods in the world. Its flavor is gentle and neutral, yet deeply connected to savory dishes. Sake carries that character with it. It is naturally rich in umami, the same savory depth found in mushrooms, aged cheese, or slow-cooked broths, which allows it to echo and reinforce the savory notes in a dish rather than compete with them. It also contains little to no tannin, which means it doesn't create dryness or amplify bitterness in the way some red wines can. As a result, delicate ingredients, raw seafood, or intensely seasoned dishes are less likely to feel harsh or overpowered. Combined with its softer acidity, sake tends to stay integrated with the food rather than pushing against it. It doesn't try to dominate the plate, it works with it. This is why sake can feel so versatile at the table. With something like tom yum soup, where spice and acidity can sometimes feel amplified, sake often feels smoother and more cohesive. With raw oysters, instead of adding extra dryness, sake tends to stay gentle and supportive. Even with strong flavors, like blue cheese, it can integrate with the saltiness and depth rather than standing apart from them. That doesn't mean wine can't work. In many cases, wine creates beautiful contrast. But sake offers a different kind of pairing experience. Less contrast, more harmony, and that difference is what makes it so compelling.
At this point, you don't need to find the perfect bottle. A better way to start is to try 2 or 3 different styles and see how they feel side by side. Sake becomes much clearer when you compare it. If possible, start by finding a shop with a good selection of sake. Don't hesitate to ask for help. You can simply say, "I'd like to compare 3 different styles." Here's one simple way to approach it. First, ask for a balanced Junmai Ginjo. This helps you understand what many people consider a classic, well-rounded style. Second, try a Junmai Daiginjo. This shows you how sake can become more refined, more aromatic, sometimes softer and more elegant. And third, choose a drier style Junmai. This lets you feel how sake behaves when it leans more toward structure and food pairing. You can even take a screenshot of this chart and bring it with you to the shop, as a simple guide when talking to staff or when checking a bottle's label. You don't need the most famous names. You just need contrast. Seeing these 3 side by side will teach you more than memorizing definitions ever could. The good news is, you don't need to spend a fortune. In Japan, excellent sake can often be found between 1,500 and 2,500 yen, and in many international markets, in a similar mid-range price bracket. Start simple, trust your comparison, and let your own preference guide you.
This video wasn't meant to cover everything. It was meant to give you a map. From here, the real discovery begins, at your own table. If you're curious, there's much more to explore. From brewing techniques to regional styles to deeper label reading, we'll continue building this guide together. And if you're looking for structured reviews and carefully evaluated recommendations, you'll find them at Japan Cellar. For now, start with a few bottles, open them with food, and see what this world has to offer. Sake is not just a drink, it's one of Japan's most diverse and expressive food cultures. The best way to understand it is simply to taste it. That's where sake truly comes alive.